The Toronto Blue Jays have a massive decision to make when it comes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And for us fans, I think it's pretty simple. Give the man what he wants and keep him in town because even though he said that he wants to be a Blue Jay for life, you're getting close to that danger zone now, and he's going to be a free agent after next season. So the Jays are going to have to get something done real soon if they want to keep him around. So we'll have that and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Jays Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Today, we're going to be talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and a potential extension that may be coming his way. Probably won't be this season. It may not even be next season, but hopefully the Blue Jays can get something done to keep him in town because, yeah, we hear a lot of discourse about Vladdy and we tend to complain about him a lot. But the truth is, he is one of the better hitters in Major League Baseball. And I know that he set the bar really high in 2021 and he hasn't been able to get back to those numbers because they were gaudy numbers. They were the best numbers in baseball that season. He hasn't been able to reach those levels. Maybe he will. He's still only 25 years old, but he hasn't as of yet. So there's been a lot of expectation and a lot of disappointment amongst the fan base that he hasn't been able to get back to that bar that he set in 2021. But I mean, you look around Major League Baseball, a lot of guys are struggling right now, and there aren't too many superstar hitters. I'm not letting Vladdy off the hook, but I think he is heading in the right direction, and the Blue Jays should reward him for it.
Yeah, he's been mashing the baseball, and he's been the best statistic first baseman regarding offense in Major League Baseball this year. And I don't know, an extension definitely needs to happen. Before we get into it, a quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 13,000. But Peter, a lot of discussion and dialogue has been going on. And before we get into some of the reports and speculation, I just want to start with this. And we talked about this off camera. This is going around Twitter. It's really, I guess, popping off in Jays Nation. Vladdy was asked whether or not he would play for the Yankees, and this dates back to when the kid asked last year or the year before, but if he played for the Yankees, he would say never. He changed his mind a little bit, I guess. He said, I'm a worker, I'm a professional, I go out on the field to play. Looks like someone switched up fast on that question. Now, Peter, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I personally don't think it's a big deal. Obviously, he said that to please the kid at the time a couple years ago, and he said that he would never play for the Yankees. He's not going to sit out if he got traded to any team in baseball, whether it's the Yankees, whether it's the Orioles, whether it's any team. So I don't put too much stock into this. But what I do know is that the Jays need to extend this man as soon as possible because he is on an upward trajectory again, and he's one of the best hitters. Like you mentioned, he is the best hitter on the Blue Jays and one of the best hitters in baseball, even after his struggles the past couple years.
Yeah, well, when he's hot, we know his ability to carry an offense is real, and we've seen that happen before. When he gets hot, he's is one of the best hitters in baseball. And what does a contract look like for Vladdy? That's what we have to go over here. Is it 300 million? I don't think so. I don't think he's worth 300 million dollars as a player because he's a first baseman. He doesn't play a premium position. It's not like he's a center fielder putting up 7 wins above replacement on a yearly basis. No, that's not what he is. He's not a shortstop that is hitting the way that he's hitting. No, so I think he's a first baseman. He's going to get paid accordingly. He's not going to get that 300, $400 million contract that I've been seeing around Twitter. I don't know if anyone even thinks that that's a possibility, but I'll shut that down. I don't think that's going to happen. But 200 million over the course of 10 years, I think that's probably a fair offer, and that's probably something that we could come to expect in terms of his next contract. So I don't know, Nick. It's going to be interesting. I don't think he's going to get paid as much as people tend to think, but still, the Blue Jays are going to have to cough up some money because he still is a really good player, even though he hasn't reached those heights that he set in 2021 yet.
Yeah, and there's been some trade speculation, which we'll get into in another video regarding him. I don't think they're going to trade him at this point. I just don't see that as a realistic possibility. And again, with the Jays' struggles, as outlined by Ben Nicholson Smith here, they've been the most disappointing team, arguably, in 2024. And that doesn't really help when it comes to an extension. But here's what I want to point out. And we touched on it briefly in yesterday's video, Peter, but I want to throw this again. This was asked a week ago by from Paz Rulli to Ben Nicholson Smith, and it was about an extension. And he said his read right now is that by the end of this year, they're going to have neither extended. Bo and Vlad have both said they're open to it, but aligning on years and dollars is hard enough when things are going great, let alone when someone like Bo is performing below career norms. Don't believe the sides have ever really been close. We'll see. Now, I think And I think you agree with me here. I think an extension for Vladdy is way more likely than Bichette at this point, at least for the end of this season. Who
Yeah.
knows what happens in the offseason? I don't think a Bichette extension is imminent by any means. There might be a higher chance of him getting traded than him getting extended at this point. But regarding, I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you mentioned it. I could see him getting 250 to maybe 300 million depending on the market. But again, he doesn't play a premium position. Even that's pricey. But the issue is, if you're the Blue Jays, how much leverage do you really have here? And you mentioned how the MLB hitting is down. You can see OPS plus with 100 being league average. He is 30% better than league average this year. And it goes to show not only is offense down around baseball, but he's done really well as of late, putting up over an 800 OPS. But 2022 was considered a down year because of how good he was in 2021. And I don't think he's going to get back to 1,000 OPS. I think he can get up to 900 over a full year if he really puts things together. He's still super young. But I think an extension for him needs to happen. I just don't know what the number could be, because you can make a case that Vladdy's going to be asking for 300. The Jays are going to say you're not a position that is of high value, so we'll do 200, and then maybe they meet somewhere in the middle. But there's a reason an extension hasn't been done yet, and it's clearly because of the dollars.
Yeah, but maybe he thinks he's worth 300 million, and I'm sure if other teams were able to offer him contracts at this current time, they would not be offering 300 million. He's not worth that, and it's not because he's a bad player. He's a very good player, and I think he's a big part of what the Blue Jays are trying to do here, not only in the near future but in the distant future as well. So I think he's a big part of that. But $300 million for a first baseman. I mean, that's unheard of. I'd have to look it up, but Matt Olson is not even making close to that. And he put up what 40 over 50 home runs last season, and he's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman. First basemen just don't get paid that amount of money because there are guys around baseball that can hit for power, and you could just stick them at first base because they're not good defensively. It's not a premium position. If Vladdy was a shortstop, like I mentioned earlier, if he was playing Bo's position and he was putting up the offensive numbers that he was putting up year in, year out, and he was an adequate defender, then we're getting into $300-400 million territory. But I just don't think we're there. So in terms of leverage, I don't know how much leverage the Blue Jays have, but I don't know how many teams would be willing to go over that $200 million mark, which is still an astronomical amount for a first baseman who is around the 800 OPS on a yearly basis. So, like, it's not elite by any standards, but the way that baseball and offense has been trending this year, it has been really good, 30% better than league average. So, I don't know. I think it's the right time to pay him. I think the Jays need to hang on to him, but at the same time, you don't want to give him 300-400 million dollars. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Let us know in the comments what your contract prediction is for Vladdy. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think 200 might be a sweet spot. Maybe even if you're pushing at 225 at the most. But it's a first baseman. Yes, he has unreal peripherals. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. And if he can figure it out even more, he can go back to his 2021 self. But you can see the outs above average down there. He's having a pretty down defensive year, but a lot of that's because he plays first base and how much value. You can find DHs who can hit for power, maybe not 800 OPS, but 750. Like, they grow on trees. Not necessarily you can easily get them, but $300 million is a lot. So let us know what your thoughts are on that in the comment section down below.
Well, yeah,
Any final thoughts?
one point here. Like, he's making 19.9
Yeah.
this year. So that's right around 200 million over the course of 10 years. I think fans are okay with him making $20 million a year. I mean, again, I'm never against a player getting paid. Better in their pockets than the rich owners, right? But at the same time, like, I think if you overpay for him, then you're way over the luxury tax, and the Blue Jays already have a really high payroll. I just don't know if they'll be willing to go over that number, and I don't know if any team will, to be honest.
Yeah, and if you're Vladdy, there's some sense of security getting 10 years right now. Who knows how much offense is going to continue to drop, whether the reason for that, maybe it's because the balls are less juice, whether maybe it's just pitchers are getting better. We're seeing Paul Skeens go out now and throw 103 every single day, or every 5 days. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on that. What do you want to see him get? I think we both agree around 200 million over 10 years. Something in that range would be at least good for the Jays, and we'll see what Vladdy thinks. But thank you guys for watching. See you soon.